Cool. You're all set.
Hello, 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 hello. Good evening. Thank you for being here. We are representing the Latin jazz part of the New Rican Poets Cafe. And I perform at the New Rican Poets Cafe at the Latin Jazz Series once a month. We were there before this pandemic. So now we're doing a virtual type of thing. So we continue on with the Latin Jazz Series in this manner, this way. My name is Wilson Chembo Corniel, and I've been performing at the New Rican Poets Cafe for about 25 years. The first 10 years of that was with this group called Sayotos Band with Chris Washburn, also with Ray Vega's group. We performed at the New Rican. This is starting in 1995, more or less. For the last 15 years, I have my Latin Jazz Quintet, Chembo Corniel Quintet, and we've been representing Latin Jazz the first Thursday of the month. There's also two other groups that are playing the Latin Jazz Series, which is Willie Martinez and Victor Rendon with the Bronx Conexión. I also perform with the Bronx Conexión, which is a 21-piece Latin jazz orchestra. I have a quintet which consists of the drums, percussion, bass, and piano, and saxophone. Today, I want to go over some of the descriptions of Latin jazz, which was born in New York. It was born in New York in the 40s, 1940, 45, between that period of time when Chano Pozo, a conga player from Cuba, came to New York and was introduced to Dizzy Gillespie by Mario Balza, which was a trumpet player, sax player for the Machito Orchestra. The Machito Orchestra was playing Latin jazz in the 40s before Chano came, to make that clear. What the marriage of these two genres with Latin music and jazz, we call now Latin jazz, was popularized by Dizzy Gillespie and Chano Pozo when they collaborated and recorded songs like Manteca, Tintindeo. Those are the tunes that went crossover, if you will, to make Latin jazz a cousin of jazz. And it's another branch, which we have the Latin flavor, which is the Latin rhythms here. We put the Latin flavor, the congas, the percussion part within the jazz genre, which you're gonna hear like some jazz chords in the arrangements. It's jazz, but with little rice and beans on there. So this is what we do, and together we could play, like, say for instance, some a standard jazz tune in a mambo style, in danceable style. We could do it in the 6/8 style. We could do it in different rhythms, merengue, Afro Caribbean rhythms mixed with jazz. We call Latin jazz. There's other people who beg to differ because they have their ideas of Latin jazz, but this is basically what it is. It's playing using these rhythms and from other parts of other Caribbean cultures, mixed with the American jazz. And this is how we came up with it. We had guys like Tito Puente, who played Latin jazz, Cal Jada, Mongo Santa Maria, Chano Pozo, which also was with Dizzy Gillespie, and they made that famous throughout that time. I played the conga drums. These are called, the technical name for these drums are tumbadoras. That's the original name, but ever since the popularization of this instrument, they changed it to conga drum because when they used to make a conga line, this was it's like a carnival music. So they kind of adapted the name conga for, like, the conga drum for the conga line. This is the instrument that I play with my group. I just want to demonstrate to you the sound of these drums here. I'm playing 4 here. And each one is in a different tone, a different pitch, if you could hear. One song that was made famous, like I was talking about, Manteca. This is a melody that I play for that tune. When you tune these drums up to a certain chord, you can play melodic melodies on them. So if you know the song, oh, Chano Poso, oye manteca, Chano Poso. Want to demonstrate how these drums sound. Usually, one drum you could get 4 sounds or more, but technically, the first 4 sounds we get out of one drum. For instance, this here is the open tone, which you kind of hit with these fingers here higher from your palm up, from the half of your palm up. These are the open tones. Okay, so you're kind of letting the string vibrate. You're kind of picking it up quick. The open tone, right? So we hit it with this part of the hand and we bounce it. The second sound that we get is the slap, which is your fingertips. So it's like a whiplash, kind of like a whip, and your fingertips are the only ones that are hitting it, and you get that cracking sound, that pop. So now with the both sounds, you're going to get the open tone and the slap. That's only 2 sounds that we're getting out of there, the open tone and the slap. Now the third sound is the bass. Hear that thud? You're hitting it with your whole palm right in the middle of the drum, and you're getting that thud sound. So that's the bass note, open tone, slap. A bass and a tone, slap and a tone. Okay, so we have another sound that we get out of the drum, which is called the muff tone. The muff tone is like a choking. It's like an open sound, open tone, but you keep it down. Your fingertips. You're choking the sound. You're not letting it. You're not bouncing your hand off the drum. So here's your open. Here's your muff. These kind of choke. produced this thing called a tumbao, which is a basic beat of in 4/4 time for the conga. This rhythm is used like in 90% of all music, which is the mambo, the tumbao, so or cha cha cha. It's the open tones, the slap, slap, bass, 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 left hand. So these are the basic sounds that I get out of my drum here. So when I play with the group, I have my drummer. So he's playing his beat, and I'm collaborating with him. And under us, the underground, you're going to hear the bass holding that rhythm together. On top of that, the piano, he's putting his colors on top. So this is how we form this kind of a rhythm and feel when we play any kind of music. This is how we tie it in. So each one has a part. Like I have my part as a conga player. The bass player has his part, the piano player, the saxophone, trumpet, or trombone, they have their way in the arrangement when to come in and out. But this is basically one pattern in 4/4. We call this 4/4 because that's the basic tumbao tempo. 1, 2 time frame. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oye, ¿cómo va? So we have the melodies for that. So you can play, melodies when you have the drums tuned this way. And this is the style that I play because I learned this from the influences that I had growing up here in New York City and playing these instruments. People like Patato Valdez, Carlos Patato Valdez, he is the most melodic conga player that I have ever seen. And as a matter of fact, this is his tuning for his drum set. He played 4 congas also. So he played like a C7 chord, if you know piano. This way you could hear all those melodies, and I can play Oye Como Va, Manteca, and other melodies also. So even tune like this, I treat it like a piano. I could play a montuno like a piano with these chords. Is why I like to use this kind of setup for myself. Now we have different styles of playing music. Latin jazz, I can improvise. So jazz is the key word in Latin jazz because what's jazz? Jazz is it's a free form of music that is improvised with a structure. It has a structure in there first. It has a basic structure as the arrangement, but you still have the freedom to open up and venture out within that structure without getting lost, we have the opportunities and the liberty to improvise when we have solos, and it's more of a free form communication with the soloist. If a sax player is playing a solo, and he would do a lick, and I would just follow him. And I would answer him. So it's more of a communication type of thing that this style of music is free to do, and this is why I like this. It's not restrictive. Like we have, for instance, Latin music. It's not only playing salsa. Latin music, you have different styles. You have big band. You have bands like Machito, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez. The big bands of that era of the '60s and the '50s that had that music. Victor Rendon's Bronx Connection is a 21-piece orchestra that we play at the Neo Rican. You got to hear this band. It's a big band, but I wouldn't play this style of playing my congas with that band. That band is more traditional and playing a big band style. I would bring two congas and play regular tumbao, filling in the patterns and play traditionally. Okay, so even though you learn how to play your drum, there's different styles of playing. There's different styles of how you would approach that music. I would play big band, a different approach that I would do Latin jazz, or a salsa band. A salsa más bailable is more danceable. A salsa band also follows a lot the clave, right? This is the basic beat in Latin music. It's called a cinquillo because it has 5 beats. One, two, three, four, five. This is called the son clave. So you would play this in salsa music, big band music, um, mostly in about 75% of the Latin music. They use this phrase. Now in Afro-Cuban music, which is another style like timba or changui, they have other style of Latin music. Now another phrasing of the clave, instead of playing the son clave, this is son, or playing in rumba. Rumba is you have 3 or 4 individual people playing each separate drum in a rumba setting format, which one will play one rhythm, another one will complement it with another rhythm. You have the soloist, the quinto, and you have somebody here playing another part. Also, that clave is called rumba clave that you use for that kind of setting. So here's the song. The rumba is a hesitation on the N of 4. So far you got 2 styles of playing the clave. I wouldn't play the rumba clave on a salsa. I mean, I could play it, but traditionally the arranger is phrasing around and accenting on the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's got his spacing. The clave has its spacing where the arranger can accent on. This is a 5 beat. Brazilian music has a cinquillo. Cinquillo, 5 beats again, and it goes. That's more for bossa nova type feel, but it's still got the 5 beats in there, but now it's placed differently. So this cinquillo is going to be carried over also in Afro Puerto Rican music, which is bomba, plena. eh, we use the cinquillo a lot, especially in bomba, which would go one, two, three, four, one. Brazilian, Cuban rumba, song. So these five beats are the key. These sticks here are called clave. Clave in Spanish means key. So you got to think of these hits, those five beats, this little two-stick instrument over here, these two palitos. You got to we think of it as a lighthouse, like you're a boat in the fog and you're lost, and you see the lighthouse over there. That's where you have to go. So this is how we kind of look at this instrument here, because this is the key to all the phrasing of all the rhythms that we learn and that we do and that we play. To play Latin jazz music, we use uh, different rhythms from different countries because they all have the Afro influence rhythms, like in Puerto Rico, the bomba. That would be the qua part for the bomba with the cinquillo part against the bomba there. Uh, they have our another rhythm that we use in Puerto Rico is la plena. I'm gonna demonstrate the plena rhythm with the two drums. This is how we play it in a orchestra setting. But usually they would be played in panderas, which are little circles like the size of these heads, some smaller and some larger, and they're about maybe 2 inches thick, wide rather. And then we played on the side. You see them being played on the side. And here's a rhythm. Is an adaptation of two of those banderas playing plena. So this is another rhythm that in Puerto Rico they we use. And when we do, I play some Afro. bomba jazz, if you will, which is we mix the jazz element with these rhythms undercurrenting the music. So it's gonna be holding that rhythm, holding that bounce, and holding that sound, okay, against progressive harmonies and chords in the jazz setting, in a jazz format. So with that, those two are like the marriage of jazz and Latin, and this is the Latin jazz that we came out with, and that's been played since the 40s, or even before that. You know, with where bands here in New York City. Um, Also in Cuba, they have their rhythms like abacua, rumba. Rumba consists of guaguancó, Colombia, jambu, bata, which is a sacred music. These instruments here, the bata drums are used. I have a traditional set here, if you can see that. Uh, these are the more modern sets that we use now for working purposes, practicing purposes. These drums like this are used more in ceremonial, so more traditional drum. They came up with this drum here with the mechanism of the hook and the rim that holds the head here. So you treat it as a drum, as a tambor, but it's the same rhythms that we played here. But certain drums are played for certain things, like these would be for a ceremonial purpose. This would be more of in a band setting or practice or whatever, what have you. You could still use these too for ceremonial, but if they ask for it, it doesn't. Not most of the time they won't use it though. But these are the ones, the Anya drums. Anya is it's a packet, a medicine is the goddess of the drum, and that packet is in the large drum here inside, which is then blessed and is used for ceremonial purposes. That's the difference between these drums here. Um, for instance, in a Cuban rhythm, guaguancó, one of the three of the rumba, ¿verdad? Mm. That's the guaguancó. Colombia. Now this is it goes deeper. You have to learn. You have to learn and study. The guaguancó I just played is from a different province of Havana. This is the Havana style guaguancó where you hear the two hits. El guaguancó en Matanza is played with one hit instead of in Matanza is one hit. So that's a Havana style guaguancó. So it's two different things, two different languages because it's from a separate part of Cuba, which one traditionally played had their roots in playing in one style, and the other one in Havana, it's been played in another style. The next rhythm of the rumba de Cuba is the Colombia, rumba Colombia. Okay, now again, this has uh, two different ways of playing it, maybe more, but these are two basic ways of playing Colombia. in Cuba. This here is the Matanza. No, this here is the Havana style first. So it will feel uh, 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 uh. So you hear that feel. Now I'm gonna play the same Colombia, Matanza style. Ah, 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 ah. Okay, so so it depends. It's good to know all the styles of playing that one rhythm. That way, when you playing with a group or a band or you're recording as a musician, if you're a musician and you play congas, when you go do a recording date and maybe this won't sound good with the arrangements that's being recorded, maybe this other one. And it's also played in a sixth feel. So, and then the soloist would play in Quintial in a kind of a sixth feel also. So it's more African, it's more, and it's played much slower too. Okay, so the last of the rumba style is the yambu. The yambu is a slower rhythm. It's a slower paced rhythm, just like the wawanko home boxes. If you see the boxes that they were played, some with congas and some with boxes also. But it's a very slow tempo, um, kind of a rhythm. So so it's played more funky, slower, and it's a soulful rhythm when it's played that slow, and you enjoy it more because it's more danceable for the people who can estar bailando vacuna. Vacuna is a type of dance that they can do for Colombia, uh, sometimes for Yambu, also for all the rumbas that they play also. Another instrument, I want to demonstrate this to you because this is also, we add this to Latin jazz. All these rhythms that I'm playing, we add this to the jazz songs that we play with. So this is where it's coming from. All these rhythms from Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Caribbean, Santo Domingo, Brazil. All these are mixed around, and you could play the Brazilian jazz. Mario Rivera had the salsa refugees, and he played merengue jazz. Hector Martinez plays Colombian jazz, cumbia jazz. You know, there's Peruvian, Afro-Peruvian jazz, where they have their rhythms, landó, festivo, and these are music that's played with cajon, a different type of cajon box than the Cuban one. So you know, it's a whole lot of listening and studying and learning to do, because you have to know these things in order for you to progress in your career, in yourself, in your playing. So you have to always learn. We never stop learning. When you're a musician, we never stop learning. I can always learn from somebody from 6 years old to 90 years old. You know, if I see a 6 year old, 7 year old doing something, hey, what'd you do there? So I would be, you know, there's something I haven't heard, but he might not know what he's doing, but I heard something in that rhythm. These here are called bata drums. These are also Cuban based. Let me get up here and see if you can see what these drums are here. If you could hear, this big one is called the iya drum. This is the mother. This is the big drum. These bells that you're hearing, it's only on the big drum. They're called chaworo. Chaworo. These bells here are played at ceremonies. These drums that are played in the ceremonies, they have these bells because they invoke the spirits to come down to play and dance with us and be happy with us. So when they hear these jingles and the rhythms get intense, that's what makes the ocha, the oricha, come down and come and have a festive day, a party with us. So these are what they invoke the spirits, and it's only on the large drum, the iya drum. The middle drum here is called the itotele, which is the middle drum. It's like the middle child in the family. It has two heads, one larger. The larger one is called the inu. The large one is called the inu, and the smaller ones are called a cha-cha. So this is the cha-cha of the iya, and this is the inu of the iya. This is the cha-cha of the itotele and the inu of the itotele. So this is the language that we speak as drummers. So, you know, everything has a name. You have a name. Everybody has a name. So these things you have to address accordingly also. The smaller one, the baby here, is called the okonkolo, and it's a higher pitch drum. So this here is the inu side of the okonkolo. The cha-cha side of the okonkolo, right? So now you have so it's like playing six heads right here. You got two here, and two here, right? So traditionally you have three people playing these drums, three separate people on their laps, and you've probably seen it before. You could look for Grupo Folclórico Nacional de Cuba, anything that has to do with bata. You could look online and you could see how the three people have different parts in playing these drums here. One has a certain part here. He's the one that calls. The middle one answers. The little one mostly keeps time while these two are conversing. Now, lately, within the last 10, 15, 20 years, we've been adapting to play the three at the same time. That's why we have a stand like this. So sometimes for shows, for purposes like that, concerts, where you can't get three guys to play at the same time, or for myself, I have my drums here, and there's certain interludes in my music that I use the three bata drums here. So I learned how to do some patterns. I'm going to play a little bit for you so you can see how. Let me see the inu side here. So you could hear a little bit. Later on, I'll turn it around. We're going to be doing La Topa for Legua. This is the first toque that is played in a ceremony. Legua is the keeper of the crossroads, and that he opens and closes the ceremony. So you always have to start off with this with this toque. This is a toque. This is for Elegua. So that was the toque for Legua. I'm gonna play one or two more. I'm gonna do it this side so you can see each hand is doing a certain motion, is doing a certain hit for each side. So I had to study real hard because you got to know each drum individually in order to put the concept of the song of the toque together to have the conversation. All this conversation here. This one was keeping time here, and I was having some conversations with Iya and the Totally. Okay, so this one here, I'm just gonna do one or two more. This is for Babaluae San Lazaro, which is the Orisha for health. If you're in a hospital, so you know he looks after you. You might have seen this San Lazaro statue, the man with the crutches and two dogs licking his wound at his feet side. This is San Lazaro. So he's the one that when people are sick, they pray to him for better health and to guide him and to protect them. So this one is for Babaluae, which is the Yoruba name for San Lazaro. Obatala, sorry, Obatala for the patron saint of purity. So they Obatala. Obatala is usually all in white, and he's the for purity. And Obatala can be male or female. So this token was for Obatala. It wasn't for Babalua. I just came into this one because I felt this one happening here. Okay, let's do Obatala again. One more I'm gonna do. This one is for Chango, the god of thunder, strength, lightning, fire. Chango is a forceful Orisha deity. And this is for him. This is his toque for Chango. This is Cabo, 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 cabiotilero, cabo, 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 cabiotilero. Okay, that was a little demonstration. These rhythms also that we play on the bata drums are used. I use them for jazz, for my Latin jazz songs. I have 5 albums out on the Chembo Records. They're all online. My latest one is Land of the Descendants. And I use all these instruments and I use all different rhythms in each album. You know, I mix up with Afro-Peruvian rhythm. I mixed up with Afro-Cuban rhythm, with Orisha music and jazz. You know, I mix all those things that I grew up with and that I learned and I listened and play with. So this is the style of Latin jazz that I do at the New Yorker for so long, and I'm very grateful that I got to be a part of the New Yorker Poets Cafe for 25 years, because that's the place where I developed my sound for my group, for my quintet. And since the New Yorker Poets Cafe, it's a free spirited place, and they give you the liberties to experiment, the liberties to take chances, the liberty to push the envelope and test yourself, not only the band and your music, but to test yourself where you can go to the next level. You want to try a certain thing, but we're afraid of. But this is where the place where they let you do it, you know, and this is how we practice every day. But when we perform, that's when we have to bring it out. That's when we have to produce it. So, you know, the New Yorker Poets Cafe gives us the liberty, not only us as musicians, but for the poets that go there, the shows, the plays. It's always been like that from the beginning. And this is why I put a little bit of that kind of feeling that and that thought into my music, into my playing, and into myself as a person too. You know how to improvise my music and how to show my music in a free form way without any restrictions. It's not like playing in a salsa band that you have to play for the dancer. So all night the dancer wants to dance. So you got to say, that's all the dancer wants to hear, because you play more salsa music and you have a singer who's going to be interpreting the song. So it's not your place to open up and be, more free form. So now I got to be more restrictive. Not like in New Yorker when I have my Latin jazz group. I'm free to. I follow my guidelines playing. You know, which you don't have to be playing crazy, but there's a guideline. After that, you can venture out. But the thing is that you always got to come back to this place here, and you have not only yourself, but you got the other 4, 5 other musicians that are with you. And what's happening there is that you got to have the confidence into going out of the circle, thinking out of the box. But you know where the box is, or you could come back when you have to finish off the tune. So it's a whole improv, it's a whole free form of thinking, and this way it gives you more liberty to be creative. Once you learn other rhythms, other styles of music, and then you got to play it traditionally. I also not only play with the Afro-Caribbean rhythms, I play straight ahead jazz, like, an authentic sounding jazz band is what we are, but we're congas, we're tumbadoras. That's all it is. So when we have to change up and play the other side, we can do our thing and playing straight ahead jazz, and we're up there with everybody else too. So we know that, and we know how to play that traditionally and authentically. So we have the best of both worlds. We got the roots. So I'm trying to hang on, dig in the bottom for the roots, and then go for the sky for the advance and the jazz and the progressiveness, and intertwine that together. And this is what this music is, those two worlds, and making the best out of it. It's growing every day. It's taking new directions every day. It's being taken to the next level. And this is the only way to do that is by having confidence and playing your music and playing your instrument. Not only congas, but you can play piano, violin, any instrument that you have. This will give you the confidence and knowing that you can go out there. And one day you're gonna have to jump in that pool and learn to swim. So the sooner the better. Because once you're in there, this is how we learn to adapt. You can't be afraid all your life of trying to do something and what will they think? What will they, if you know it's right, you've been practicing it, you throw it down. You throw it down all the time, and you're gonna feel good about yourself, and you're ready to take the next step into learning your music and taking it to the next level. Just want to play a little bit more for you. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Chembo Corniel. It's been a blast. Probably going to see you next month. So hopefully we'll get together again. And thank you again for the New York Post Cafe. Chris is there, and at the helm over there, Jason also, and all the people at Dan, and all the people at the New York Post Cafe for having me and having this program so we can continue Latin jazz for the New York Post Cafe. Thank you, guys.